Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
which Disney princess has done the most stupid thing, but we ignore it? Ariel signed a contract without reading it, and never attempts to use writing to communicate with Prince Eric. Aside from the fact she signed, I wouldn't believe she would know how to write. She lived underwater after all. I think it's her knowing how to sign that's actually the plot hole rather than a fish out of water acting like one. Anna's making stupid decisions the entire movie. Meanwhile, Elsa is having quiet panic attacks in almost every scene. I'm not arguing Anna is a genius, but I question the critical thinking skills of people who say the dumbest thing she does is instantly agree to marry Hans. Anna has essentially been imprisoned in her castle from a young age, and the coronation might be her one and only chance to escape. A lot of her decision-making comes down to this. I know it all ends tomorrow, so it has to be today, is the attitude she expresses right before meeting Hans. As far as Disney princesses who fall in love on day one are concerned, Anna is probably the least egregious. If Mother Golem had just changed Rapunzel's bidet, none of that movie would have been necessary. Gothel? No thanks, more of a speed metal guy. Literally all she had to do was say, "Oh, those lanterns are for the lost princess. She was stolen as a baby. People steal babies, and you were a baby, so you must stay here." Quote, "This was basically exactly what I said after watching it the first time, lol. Like, come on Miss Witch, you're smarter than this." Not the princess herself but the three fairies from Sleeping Beauty are the dumb ones. 1. Why didn't they just wait one more day to bring Aurora back so they'd avoid Maleficent's curse? 2. Their fighting is how Maleficent found them. 3. They raised Aurora for 16 years then go, surprise. Your whole life is a lie and you're actually a princess with parents engaged to a prince, and were magical fairies. 4. Why does nobody ever point out that if Merida had kept her big mouth shut that maybe Maleficent could have been talked down to not cursing a baby, i.e., let me check the list because yep, there you are. Oh, I'm so sorry, your invitation must have gotten lost in the mail, our cowardly peasant didn't deliver your invitation. But Merida just had to insult her and so cursing time. 5. If they know Maleficent is out there, why are they totally okay with her going off alone into the woods? Edit, I am so happy that there's a lot of you who agree. I've tried explaining this to others and they think I'm crazy. I always think about this post whenever Maleficent comes up. Basically showed up, fully in her right to feel scorned as hell, and graciously gave the king and queen a chance to right their wrong. Then fucking Merryweather has to go and make it even worse. Isn't that the same motivation Hades has for cursing Hercules when Zeus is a terrible manager, brother, and refuses to find coverage for him so he can attend the party for Hercules? I mean, that was my take, in the Disney movie obviously. I mean, I get that Zeus is overwhelmed as a new dad, but you gotta take care of your night shifters. First lesson of management IMO. Alice drank a random bottle she found in the woods. It was all very well to say, "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. "No, I'll look first," she said, "and see whether it's marked poison or not," for she had read several nice little histories about children who had got burnt and eaten up by wild beasts and other unpleasant things, all because they would not remember the simple rules their friends had taught them, such as that a red-hot poker will burn you if you hold it too long, and that if you cut your finger very deeply with a knife, it usually bleeds, and she had never forgotten that, if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it is almost certain to disagree with you, sooner or later. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had, in fact, a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished it off. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. That's not better. To be fair, I think most of us have been there. Rule of thumb, if it looks like booze, it probably is. Never waste booze. Merida fed her own mother a magic cake bought from a mysterious witch to change her. I would totally have done that at that age. Dumb, yes. Age appropriate, also yes. A mysterious witch, wood carver. Not Disney and not a princess, but can we talk about the train that kidnaps kids to the North Pole and you're not allowed to tell your parents about it? Wait till you hear about polar drift. While we're all about trains here, what about the cartoon dinosaur train? Anyone gonna tell those young dinos what fuel the train uses to operate? Moana, because she saved the whole goddamn world, and honestly it's been stressful ever since. In the beginning the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. I was really bothered by the fact that her family would never let her get near water. On an island, everywhere the light touches, don't go there, it's scary. I mean, she also took off sailing on her own across the ocean after nearly drowning just trying to get past the reef. If she didn't have a magical ocean spirit to save her, she would have been dead. Maybe she wouldn't have gone on that voyage in the first place if there was no magical ocean spirit. I believe she did die right before she reached Maui's island, and Te Fiti gave her life back when she gave her the gift of the boat. It explains so much. Ariel read a contract and signed it. She could have just written Prince Eric a note. I'm trying to think of how the message would be delivered and what she'd write. Like a message in a bottle, she just happens to yeet his way on the beach. Dear Eric, I love you, but I don't have legs. You down to get weird? She is on land with him, mute, failing to communicate, and never picks up a pen. Jasmine didn't perform a background check on the made-up prince who showed up out of nowhere. I'd blame the Sultan and Jafar for this, to be honest. Not many 16-year-olds are going to think of background checks. Nobody but an actual royal would have actually been able to pull off the kind of entrance he did without literal magic. And it's not entirely unbelievable for there to be a kingdom they've never heard of, world's big. Edit, okay. Thinking back, Jafar is still dumb for not looking into it since he was suspicious of our boy. In a deleted scene, Aladdin claims to be a Nigerian prince. Did you watch the movie? Jasmine is being forced to marry within days, and she hates all her suitors, including Ali. If she had any choice in the matter, she never would have spoken to him. She also almost immediately works out who he is, and tricks him into revealing himself to her. Corporal Klinger failed to commit to the bit and switched to military attire. Klinger was a low-key supply corporal at the start of the series, but when Radar leaves, he becomes company clerk. The former carries a risk of being sent to the front, while the latter does not, officially, as he is promoted to sergeant around the same time. I know that was a joke, but thought I would add as to why he stopped wearing dresses in the universe of the show. Didn't Potter actually order him to stop when he became company clerk? Holy Toledo, this is funny shit. Merida made a vague request, change her mom so her fate will be changed, and didn't even ask what'll happen if she gave her mom the cake. Like, girl, you're lucky Eleanor just turned into an animal. Imagine if she died or went mad cause you didn't say, please have my mom become more relaxed and calm and have her decide not to marry me off to some rando. Be funny if Brave was just about a kid giving her mother special brownies. Asha from Wish just makes one poor decision after another. She's a one-woman crusade to fix something no one wanted fixed. God, I hated that movie. Imagine being the person who lost your loved one in a war or something, and your life is hell because you keep dreaming of having him back and you know it will never happen, and then one day you hear about a place that can make you forget the pain and let you live rent-free. A happy life, so you pack everything up and make a dangerous journey to the one place you can be happy again. And then some teenage bitch ruins it because she wants her grandpa to be a rock star. I watched Wish on Disney Plus 2 months ago. Then the app was all, because you watched Wish, and I legit thought, did I though? That film is so forgettable. She's a one-woman crusade to fix something no one wanted fixed. In the art book, the star was originally Starboy, and he had motivation to stop the king and queen. Both were the villains in the original version. Presumably, they were hurting him, and maybe other star people, by stealing wishes. He needed Asha's help, but it wasn't explained why. Also, they fell in love and it was supposed to be a cute love story. However, executive meddling happened and they didn't like that Asha wasn't girl bossing and needed the help of a male character. I am not joking, execs didn't like that Starboy was doing helpful things for Asha because he was a shapeshifter that transformed into animals. I am sure other executive meddling happened and it's why the story is so bad. Edit, I'll add in some more info from the art book. Starboy was going to talk, but they said by having him talk and transform into animals, he was too close to the genie from Aladdin. That made absolutely no sense because he was clearly human-shaped and he wasn't granting wishes. Then they decided to make him mute and rely more on expressions. Cool, that could have been some actual representation in a Disney movie. I am guessing they ran into issues with romance and consent like they did in the live-action Little Mermaid. That's easy. He has hands, make a cute little heart like the K-pop stars do. Also, mute people exist and are in relationships, so they made him into a literal star. No real explanation was given, so I am assuming the animal mascots in the movie weren't cute enough for merch. I really wish someone would tell execs to stop listening to bad takes Twitter. Nobody minds a female protagonist getting helped or mentored by men, or even needing to be rescued. We just don't want her to be useless. My personal top 3. The mermaid who traded her voice for legs for a man she'd seen from afar a couple times in her life. Snow White, who ate an apple from a weird old woman with a wart on her nose. Belle, who didn't run away from a creepy palace inhabited by a huge hairy monster and talking dishes trying to match her up with him. Honorable mention, the prince from Cinderella, who danced with her all night, but abruptly forgot what she looked like and looked for her by the shoe someone else could theoretically put their foot in. I have got to defend my girl, Ariel. IMO, she didn't trade her voice for legs for Eric. She traded it to be a part of the human world. She was interested in the human world long before Eric came into the picture. Introverts meanwhile, I wanna go where the people aren't. Yeah, Eric just pushed her closer to what she wanted to do, anyway. Her dad nuking her collection over the edge. Eric was a nudge toward the edge, while Triton grabbed her and threw her over the fucking cliff. Wasn't Belle in castle instead of her father who was captured by Beast? Belle did try to escape. She got on her horse and fucked right off out of there. She got lost in the woods, her horse bolted, and she nearly got devoured by wolves until the Beast, obviously tracking her, jumped out to fight him off. She almost kept going, but chose to take the injured Beast back to his castle and help him recover. Belle was probably the least stupid of the Disney princesses. She's so awesome. I haven't seen that movie in a million years. Snow White becomes a bit better when you think about how, in the original tale, she was only like 8. But also, old peddler women weren't terribly uncommon in the time, and as a princess, she had probably encountered many such unfortunate individuals, and it had never gone wrong before, so why would it now? As for Belle, you have to remember she had offered herself to take the place of her father in captivity. In the original, the queen disguises herself as a peddler 3 times to get her, though the apple is just the 3rd and most successful. First she comes with a ribbon that chokes her when she tries to wear it around her neck, but the dwarves just take it off and she revives. Then she comes back with a poison comb that makes her fall asleep when it pokes her, but the dwarves pull it out and she wakes up again. So she's at 2 strikes with Peddles ladies by the time the apples come around. Just read the short retelling of the original fairy tale now and realize that the dumbest of all is the mirror, who could have been silent about Snow White, knowing that she was just a little girl and would be in danger because of his opinion. LMAO. With original tale, you mean the Grimm brothers version or some version prior to theirs? Because in the Grimm's version that I read, Snow White was at a pre-teenish age, 11 or 12, I don't remember exactly, when the people at the kingdom started to comment that she was growing to be more beautiful than the queen. And 3 years later, the mirror starts to say that she's the fairest of them all, so she's supposedly to be around 14 yo. The version I read was from a book from the second half of the 19th century that I found on Google Books. But also, the Grimm brothers had some even more earlier versions of their fairy tales that were modified because people at the time thought to be too disturbing. Maybe the Snow White's age was also modified there. IDK about Belle. If a sexy French candelabra wants me to be his guest, I'm not turning that down. Also, dishes that do themselves. Holy shit, I'm in.